Let's have a look at some of the advanced configuration options that are available to us when we configure Neos. I've prepared a little command controller that will dump the entire configuration of our custom package out onto the console. And that will show us the data types that the YAML config values we entered get converted into when they get read into PHP. Let's create a protected member and call it config, and use the flow InjectConfiguration annotation in order to inject the package's configuration into this variable. Flow InjectConfiguration, and we'll give it an empty path, and by default it's using the package it is in, which is our my package custom one. Now let's create the command function that dumps our config. Let's say public function show config command. Don't need any parameters, and we just var dump out our this config. Now I can do flow my show config, and it will dump an array with the entire configuration of our package, which as of yet there is none. Let's add some configuration values then. Let's say my package, and now let's have a look at the data types that we can use. We can use int and double, bool, string, and we have two different options of setting something to null. The first one is by using this tilde character. The second one is by setting null explicitly. Let's have a look at what we get from this now. And we can see that the output of the var dump shows us the first one's an int, double, bool, string, and twice we get a null. We can also put more complex data types in YAML. We have two options of setting an array. The first one is by using the regular notation with the square brackets. And the second one is by using the syntax with dashes. Let's have a look at what that gives us. And we can see here we get two arrays, once with a string of foo and an integer of 42, and the second one with bar and 53, exactly what I put here. YAML also knows about timestamps, and it can convert data strings into timestamps. Let's have a look at how that works. Timestamp, and we'll just give today's date and see what that gives us. And we can see that our timestamp has been converted into a Unix timestamp value. There are two ways of adding literals into YAML. The first one is by using this pipe character, and that means that the literal we give here will retain its new lines. The second one, which we also call a folded literal, we indicate with the greater than sign, and this will not keep its new lines. So let's dump our config once again and see what we get here. And we can see our first literal, which has the new lines, and the second one, which doesn't. The trailing new line here is just because my editor automatically inserts a new line at the end. Now, so far this has all been standard YAML, but there are also a few Neos-specific things. For example, we can use constants from PHP code by saying %, and then we can use a constant that's defined somewhere in the PHP code, for example, the path of flow itself, which is called flow path flow. Let's dump that and see what we get from it. And we can see here it's printed as the path to the flow framework itself. And finally, we can also pull in environment variables by doing % and then env : and the name of the environment variable we want here. And from that, we get my home directory printed. Finally, I'd like to warn you about a little trap that we all have fallen into sometimes. If I set a configuration value here, and then maybe do something else in the meantime, and then later come back and add something in the same namespace, YAML will not parse this. It needs to be one tree. If I dump that, we can see that only the contents of the first tree in that namespace my package are parsed. YAML just silently ignores the second tree with the same path. So what we need to do is add this above here and remove that. And then we also get the correct configuration value which we expected here.